You are listening to the Teach Middle East podcast, connecting, developing, and empowering educators.
Hey everyone, Lisa Grace back with another episode of the Teach Middle East podcast, and I am delighted. I'm always delighted. Give me another word, guys. Give me another word other than delighted. And I don't like the word honored either. But I'm happy to have Adrianna Rose on the podcast. Adrianna is a teacher in Dubai. She's also a content creator. During the time when I used to be on Instagram, I've deleted my account now, but I used to follow her just to get a feel of what the teachers are doing around the city. But today, we're going to be chatting it up about what her experience has been like teaching in Dubai and so much more. Welcome to the podcast, Adrianna.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be part of it. Sounds good.
So, content creation. I'm jumping off right there. Why? How did that start?
I think for me, it was just always going to be a way for me to document my experiences in the UAE as a teacher and just life day to day. Because I remember when I first got my job back in 2020, there wasn't many people doing that, especially Black teachers as well. So I think that was really important for me to showcase like my experiences day to day, how I found moving and working in different schools and just living and getting used to being in Dubai. In UAE, because I used to work in Abu Dhabi before I worked in Dubai. It's just a way for me to document my experiences and that I'll have them one day to look back on and hopefully help someone else that's maybe encouraged to join working in the UAE as well as a teacher.
Yeah, I think it's super, super useful. I mean, even though I've been here for so long, I still used to watch different creators that would put out content. And I just think, you know what? This is super useful for people who are making their way here or people who are here and having a different experience to see that, listen, my experience is different or similar. You know, it's that human need to connect, exactly. Right? And compare. Exactly. And then you said you've been here since what, 2020?
2020, August 2020, yeah.
Dubai, Abu Dhabi.
I moved to
Abu
Dhabi. I think Abu Dhabi is a lot quieter than Dubai. I think for me, Abu Dhabi is the kind of place where you can kind of do everything once and it's enough. Whereas I feel like in Dubai, there's a lot more variety of like things to do and things like that. So I definitely preferred Dubai. I did like Abu Dhabi, but for me, like when I moved to Dubai, I knew it was the right decision to be here. Absolutely.
Do you think that the fact that you are younger, clearly younger than me, and looking for that more vibrant environment, do you think that if a teacher is coming out here with a family, that Abu Dhabi would be better? What are your thoughts on that?
I think not necessarily. I think Dubai, like, it's not all just wild and busy all the time. There definitely are areas that are a lot quieter. I know people that have got families, like my colleagues who have got families who are very happy living in various areas in Dubai. So I think it's definitely just about picking the right area. Some areas are a lot busier than others. And I guess it just depends on what you want to do. There's a lot of family-friendly areas too. So I think Dubai definitely is an option for any teachers or anyone that's interested to move to the UAE.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there is something for everyone. Obviously, I'm an Abu Dhabi-based person. I love Abu Dhabi. I've never lived in Dubai, and I don't think I want to. I can't say never because we don't know what the world will bring. But I do encourage people who are listening to this podcast who are considering coming to the UAE to understand that the cities are not very far apart. They're
literally an hour, if that.
And so you can take advantage of both no matter where you end up living. Talk to me a little bit about what it's been like for you settling in the UAE. How have you found the process?
I think at first it was really hard. Like when I first moved, COVID was at its peak. So I moved August 2020. I moved from the UK to here and it was just very brand new. There was a lot of rules and restrictions and regulations at the time. So the initial, I'd say, first 6 months was very hard for me. But it definitely got better. It got better in terms of making friendships and meeting people and settling in at my school and things like that. But I'd say COVID definitely made it a lot harder at the time. So, yeah, to begin with was tough, but I definitely got into my flow after about 6 months or so.
What's making you stay?
I think just the lifestyle and just general like well-being. I also met my partner here. So I met him when we lived in Abu Dhabi. I guess things like that. And just my overall well-being, as I said, I definitely feel a lot happier here than I was when I used to teach in the UK. So I think, yeah, definitely lifestyle, well-being. I've made friendships for life. I've met my partner here. So yeah.
Let's do the dreaded comparison, Adrianna. England, UAE. What have been the major differences for you between the two teaching in both places?
Oh, I think there definitely are some key differences. Like when I worked in the UK, I worked at a small primary school in Kent, and it was very small. Whereas in the UAE, like my school in Dubai, it was 10 formentary, whereas my school in the UK was only 3 formentary. So going from that to that was huge. So I think, there's good and bad parts to both. I think in the UAE, especially in private schools, expectations are a lot higher. So I think that is definitely a huge difference. Not that expectations in the UK aren't as high, but I think working in a private school in the UAE absolutely comes with its challenges, as I'm sure every job does. And I think for me as well, it's like diversity as well. Like in my school in the UK, like I was the only Black teacher. And in my school in the UK, in my school in the UAE, like in Dubai, like there's so much more diversity among the staff. So that's something that I really, really, really liked. So I think, yeah, and even just like the different types of like children that you get to experience and teach, because the children that I teach now, that they come from all over the world and they have so many different experiences and lifestyles and things that they're doing. And so I'd say, yeah, like they're just children coming with lots of different experiences, and they're always loving to tell me what they're doing at the weekend and where they've just been or what they and things like that. Whereas, in the UK, it's can often be like the quite similar experiences from what I had when I taught in the UK anyway. So yeah, good and bad to both, but yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I get, especially if you're coming from like a small school in Kent, that this
Mm-hmm.
could be like a bit of a shock to your system, given
Yeah.
the size on the
Mm-hmm.
scale of the schools here. Some of them have over 3,000 students.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about a through school from K right the way up to
Yeah.
year 13, which
Mm-hmm.
normally you don't find in the UK, where a
Mm-hmm.
child can be at that school for the
Mm-hmm.
entirety of their schooling life.
Yeah.
And then you also have the fact that people are coming from all over the world, different expectations, different cultures, different religions, different backgrounds. It's such a melting pot. Tell me a little bit more about your day-to-day routine, because I think teachers who are coming out here want to know, what does a day in a teacher's life look like in the UAE?
Okay, sure. I'd say definitely, especially with teachers that come from the UK, it's a lot of an earlier start, I'd say. Like, for example, my school, we're expected to be in school by 7 o'clock, whereas at my school in the UK, it was like 8:30. So that was definitely a huge adjustment, absolutely. So definitely early starts and longer days as well. I'd say, I guess every school runs differently, but I'd say there's a lot more like specialist teachers for different subjects. Whereas when I was in the UK, I would teach art, I would teach music and things like that. Whereas here in the UAE, there's a lot of different teachers for different subjects. I'd say, is it more, you're asking more just about like what like a normal day look
Yeah,
like?
like your like a day in your life. So
Okay.
you're up at 5, do you know what I mean? Because I think
Yeah.
it helps teachers, especially teachers who are coming out here trying to think,
Mhm.
so when will be my planning time and when will be my
Yeah.
fun
Okay.
time? And so it
Okay.
kind of gives them this idea of kind of, okay, maybe my day could look like that.
Yeah. Okay. So I'd say I get up around maybe 5:30, and that just gives me enough time to get ready in the morning and have breakfast, etc. And then I get to school for around 6:45, 7 o'clock. And then in my school, the children start coming in from around 7:50. And then like the first lessons usually begin around 7:50, 8 o'clock. Um, Lessons are usually between 50 minutes to an hour. And I'd say you definitely get a lot more free periods in the UAE in comparison to the UK. So those are the kind of times I use to mark books or catch up on planning, or we'd have planning meetings and things like that. I'd say work-life balance definitely has been a lot better for me in comparison to the UK, because I could get all of my stuff done, or majority at least, during the school day. And then I can leave at around 3:30 when the children leave, or 3:40 when the children leave. And then, yeah, then the rest of the afternoon is to do with whatever I please.
That's good, because a lot of times we hear different. But let me just preface this with my listeners that it does vary from
Oh,
school
yeah.
to
Oh,
school.
absolutely. Absolutely. I would say that. And I think that's my biggest advice I tell anybody, like, do your research, because every school is not the same in the UAE. So my experience might be a lot different to other teachers who work in another school in the UAE and struggle with work-life balance. So yeah, so definitely research is key.
Exactly. So let's talk a little bit about our recent experience. So on the 28th of February, our phone went beep,
Yeah.
for want of a different sound.
Yeah.
And we were then told about the conflict in the region. How did
Mhm.
that make you feel?
Honestly, it was scary at the time. It was really scary. It's just the unknown of it, just not knowing, not thinking that when I left school on Friday, I wouldn't be back for another, I think, 5 weeks we were online for, it ended up being. So it was just very unnerving, not knowing what was going to happen. But I think having lived in the UAE during COVID, I definitely saw how quick the UAE are to respond to situations that happen. So it was kind of like two of my feelings existed at the same time, being knowing that I was safe, but still being anxious, if you know what I mean. But yeah, like the UAE government, they were so quick to put things in place. My school were great at putting things in place. We went straight online. So yeah, I'd say definitely scary, especially when children have questions as well. It's knowing that not every child knows the extent in comparison to other children. So I guess it's just about trying to be as normal for them as possible. Because I guess children look to you as, okay, if Miss is all right, then it's all right. Whereas if I was like losing my mind and panicking, they'd be like, okay, this is actually really, really scary. So I guess it was just making sure that I was still being like normal and constant with them, so they could still be reassured that it was going to be okay.
Yeah, I think so too. And now that we are having another little blip, have your feelings changed any?
Honestly, like I feel a lot calmer than I did than I did in February. Just especially with like the response from the UAE government and things like that, and like coming from being on back in school to being online, it was seamless because we'd just done it not that long ago, so it wasn't too hard to set things back up again. So I definitely feel a lot more at ease this time for sure.
And so a lot of people listening to this podcast, not a lot, but maybe some listening to this podcast might be holding an offer letter in their hand.
Mhm.
And they're supposed to be coming out in August.
Mhm.
And they're still watching the news and hearing and listening and thinking, should I? Because we're coming up, I think this podcast will actually air before the resignation window in the UK, which is
Mhm.
at the end of May. And they're thinking, should I hand in that notice and take this
Mhm.
offer? What would you say to them?
Honestly, I'd say, yeah, do it. I'd say even despite the situation right now in the UAE, like that wouldn't put me off wanting to come here. I think there's a lot of misinformation online. So as I say to anyone that asks me on my social media, is just to make sure you're reading the right things, and that, for me, life is continuing here as normal. So yes, things are happening and it can be scary at times, but for me, moving to the UAE was the best thing I ever did. So I would encourage it to anybody. And just as I said, just do your research schools are very well prepared for various outcomes, and it's a scary and an unknowing to not knowing time, but 100% I'd say do it. I encourage people to do it.
Yeah. I would say I've been asked as well, and I'm like, sign the letter. Trust me.
Yeah. Like
Sign that
life is
letter.
carrying on as normal here, 100% is.
I think people, if you watch certain news outlets, you are going to get a lot of fear. And don't get me wrong, there are drones and missiles. It's not fake. However, the response to the attacks have been really, really phenomenal. And until anything changes, carry on.
This is it. And I was even thinking the other day, like having lived here through COVID, if the government wanted to take a more aggressive approach, then they would, 100% would. Because I remember when I lived in Abu Dhabi, like there was restrictions on where you could travel at the time, or you couldn't even leave the house without having a COVID test or things like that. So I feel like if it was as terrible as, the media are making out, then the government would have responded a lot more aggressively, whereas they're still making sure that everything's safe and we're still able to live our lives as normal. So yeah, I think that's what's helping me find a lot of comfort as well.
Well, you heard it, guys. Adrianna and I were saying, sign the letter. Come on out. Life is short, and you can only know if you try and if you go. And if you sit there, you might go, oh, I should have signed that letter. The minute you hit February in the UK and the dark mornings and the dark evenings catch you, you're going to be like, I should have signed that letter.
Exactly.
Tell me about your book. You've written a book.
Yeah, I have. So to be honest, like even long before I wanted to be a teacher, I always wanted to be an author. And I loved writing when I was at school. But when I was younger, I never really thought I was very good at it. So I kind of put a pause on it for a while. But I'd kind of been working on this book for a while, and I just decided I'm going to publish it because that's always been my dream. So I did last November. It's called I Take Up Space Too. It's kind of covers themes in terms of like belonging and self-worth and things like that. And it's based on like my relationship with my grandma who passed away a few years ago. So that's kind of what I wanted the basis of the book to be, like a young character and her grandma giving her advice about her experiences at school. So yeah, that's it's a long living dream of mine. And I'm really happy that I was able to do that. And it's something that I'm hoping to continue over the next few years. And I'd love to be an author full time someday, but we'll see.
No, it's good. I'm actually going to ask you to send me that link so we can put it in the show notes. So people, if you want to buy the book or check it out, you can do. And the fact is, you can be both. You can be both a teacher and an author. So let's talk about career trajectory in the UAE. What are you hoping your career will look like long term if you decide to stay long term here?
I think I definitely want to give more time to writing books and publishing books. That's something that I definitely would want to give more time to. I always love being a teacher. Now this is my 8th year of teaching. So this is definitely something I would like to continue for the foreseeable. But I think my long-term goal is definitely to pursue writing full time.
Yeah, I think you can do both. You can be a teacher and be a writer at the same time. So to wrap up the podcast, I wanted to find out from you in terms, I know we talked about you having a good work-life balance, and obviously you do your content creation and your writing. But what other fun activities do you get up to as a teacher in Dubai that maybe others can look forward to enjoying when they get out here?
Yeah, I'd say there's definitely a lot of groups for like new starters here. Like a lot of people like going to the gym. I like going to the gym, book clubs as well. I've got a friend who runs like a company specifically for teachers, and she puts on like what their various wellbeing activities, like painting we've done, yoga, like wellness retreats and stuff like that. So there is definitely a lot of fun things for everybody to do. So yeah, I like to read, I like to write, to paint when I can with like my friends, and things like that.
Yeah. So if there is something for everybody, everybody can find sort of like their little thing in Dubai to do. And also the travel from Dubai is top notch.
Oh, yeah.
There is
Yeah.
just so much. Have you been
Yeah.
able to travel since you've been out here?
Yeah, I've been to Qatar. That was literally like less than a 45-minute journey. So that was really nice. I haven't really been anywhere else really in the Middle East, but I've been to like America, and things like that. But yeah, I know lots of my friends have been traveling to like Thailand and other countries that are nearby. So it's definitely a place to travel from for sure.
Yeah. And even in the conflict, people have still been able to travel. That's something that we also want to highlight because I think people think they will get here and get stuck. But
Yeah.
yes, there could be disruptions in the airspace, but once
Hmm.
things are good for flying,
Yeah.
the Middle Eastern airlines are some of the best in the world, and you
Mhm.
are able to get on a plane and go wherever you would like to go, even
Yeah.
during this time. My husband travels quite a bit for work, and he's been
Mm.
in and out. And it's,
Yeah, this is what I mean. Like life is just continuing as normal for us here. So
yeah. Listen, Adriana, it's been such a pleasure having you on the podcast. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
thank you so much for having me.